Welcome back to the county seat. Our topic today, we're talking about a new group that is formed. It's called the American Lands Council. This is in reaction to some of the conflicts that have been developing between local jurisdiction at a state and county level, even down to a city level, and the federal government. Ken Ivory, a representative in the state of Utah, House District number 47. County Commissioner Bruce Clegg from Tooele County. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, so I guess we probably ought to just take a minute and get a brief description of what is this American Lands Council, because it's brand new.
Right, brand new. It kind of stemmed out of the last legislative session. We talked about the House Bill 148, the transfer of public lands, and so many other issues where counties, cities, states have been giving ground. You know, the federal government comes in and takes territory, and then they establish that as the new normal, and then they take more ground and more ground, you know, literally and figuratively. We had a number of people come together after we passed that bill to say, look, we really appreciate you going on offense, trying to secure control of land ownership. We want to do the same thing with land access and land use. And so the American Lands Council is a grouping, an organization of public and private interests, largely centered around the counties, because that's where access, use, and ownership decisions really should be based and take place. But it's to secure and defend local control of land access, land use, and land ownership.
You know, some people would say that's to take control, and you're using the phrase secure control. Is this a philosophical difference?
Maybe not, but you know, going back to even the opinion that Justice Roberts gave in the Affordable Care decision a couple of weeks ago, he said that in our system, states are independent, separate sovereigns. Sometimes they have to simply act like it. Well, we have that jurisdiction, we have those rights, but we've kind of fallen into this mindset of playing pretty please and mother may I. Mother may I exercise my jurisdiction over health, safety, welfare, instead of simply exercising jurisdiction and control over health, safety, welfare. We see that with the fires, we're seeing that with water, like the Tombstone report. I mean, this is happening in 100 different fronts where we're losing ground on that moral obligation at the local level to provide for the health, safety, welfare of our people.
You know, how broad is this? Who's in the club?
We'd like to get in the 11 western states, actually. And we've had, excuse me, a lot of interest from New Mexico and the other surrounding states because of their wildfires, but the counties are the ones on the ground. The counties are the ones that know what we need, and we need to get more of this federal land on the tax rolls, and we need to get more control. But throughout history, we've been the stewards, and we know how to control it in the correct way. And we want to continue to do that and be more on the offensive and not let other special interest groups take that away from us.
Yeah.
You know what's even fascinating about that? We're getting calls now from Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, because while we have the ownership issue where they're controlling 65% of our land and 85% of Nevada, for example, the access issues, you know, the travel management issues, the secure rural school issues, the MACT, you know, the requirements on coal, they're affecting West Virginia and Pennsylvania. And so this access and use affect everyone across the nation. Ownership is maybe more of a Western issue, but by unleashing the resources we have here, that solves national debt, deficit, unemployment issues as well.
It would seem to me that the focus of this group is on the ground issues. But it really does sound like it's a philosophical war being waged between two different ideologies about where the natural seat of government rests. This almost is like a constitutional issue, is it not?
Well, I think you used the right term, the ideological issue. Our nation was founded on the principles of the private right and control of property and liberty. And with the control of property and liberty, we can produce prosperity, and with prosperity, we can bless each other's lives and be accountable for that. That's the fundamental basis of our system. Well, from the beginning of time, there's been an opposition to that where there are those who want to centralize the command and control of property and the means of production, and you have the liberty to do what I tell you to do. And so those ideologies really are at competition, and so this is really restoring the balance of our constitutional heritage, where we act as the jurisdictional sovereigns in the states, and by extension, the on-the-ground, as Commissioner Clegg mentioned, on-the-ground counties that really are the implementation instrument to make that happen. It's simply exerting the jurisdiction that is ours to protect the health, safety, welfare of our people.
Bruce, has it become more difficult to deal with federal regulations and what you might consider to be capricious decisions as opposed to 10 years ago?
It seems to me like that we're not offered the seat at the table that we need.
Give me an example of a place where you know, something is run contrary to the best interests of Tooele County.
Wilderness study area is a big issue in our area. They can't define how long a wilderness study would be, and in the meantime, they shut our roads down for the farmers and ranchers to get to their springs to work in the high country on their property, and they curtail mining interests in Utah and Nevada. Not letting them get on the roads that they need to get on.
In fact, in Elko, they've actually had an economic analysis done on the travel management. They've shut down virtually all the roads that go through the forests and in the BLM areas. They did an economic analysis for Elko County alone. It has a $200 million a year adverse economic impact. And the response was, well, yeah, so we're going to do what we're going to do. And they took virtually none of their input into account. And so you've got a county trying to fund education, fire, sanitation, and other welfare, and they go take $200 million a year off the table from them in one fell swoop.
When you read the Flipma bill as a county commissioner, do you feel that any of the federal agencies are living up to it?
No, they don't absolutely don't live up to it. Even to the letter of the law, they don't invite us to the table. So.
Yeah, so kind of going back on your point, this is about exerting, number one, political persuasion. And so we get hundreds of counties with private entities, states, special improvement districts, cities, speaking as one voice on local control of land access, land use, land ownership. And so you have the political persuasion aspect. But then you have the legislation, where we have many jurisdictions that we do control. We have the moral obligation to protect health, safety, welfare, even against arbitrary, irrational federal policies, where now we've got, you know, forests burning down that threaten watershed, threaten wildlife, air quality. We have that moral obligation to act. So you've got legislation at local, state, and national levels using the political persuasion. Then you've got litigation efforts if need be. But all of them coming together with one voice to secure local control of land access, land use, and land ownership.
Well, let's talk about that when we come back and how this compares to the Sagebrush Rebellion of a couple of decades ago. We'll be right back here on the County Seat.
There aren't a lot of places in this world where you can feel truly free and wild, where the horizon invites you to set off on adventure. Find adventure at the Tooele County Fair August 2nd through the 4th. We'll kick it all off with an annual rodeo August 2nd and 3rd, and enjoy a special concert with the Bellamy Brothers on August 3rd. Then we'll wrap up with our Demolition Derby. Tooele County. Experience endless horizons.